Can't hear you.
Great. Thanks, Vic. I'll start over.
I'm like can't.
Didn't hear you. I went through a whole spiel. All right.
I was like,
Welcome back, everyone, to the 5280 Zone. We're going to start over. Welcome back. And like I said, or like I was saying, we were on a little bit of a hiatus. It took us about a few weeks to kind of get some of our stuff going on in our personal lives kind of figured out, sorted out. My background looks a little different. I'm in a different place than I usually am. So, and you'll see me like this for the next few weeks, and then we'll go back to my normal setup and broadcasting area. But really excited to be back for sure. It's going to be just me and Vic Lock tonight. Cruz and Matt, they have some other personal engagements that they have going on that they need to take care of. Again, this is the night. It was supposed to all work out for us, but things happen, so we're excited to be back. So yes, welcome back to Team Awesome and the 5280 Zone. We are excited to be back, and be exciting. We're excited to be bringing you great content again, week to week, every Friday. So we want to start off by saying thank you to some of our sponsors. Vic, you got it?
Yeah, sure do. So 5280 Zone is brought to you today by our sponsors, Stoked Fire, which is your barbecue superstore located in Loveland, Colorado. Your barbecue expert since 2020. It's basically got everything that you need. It's for all your grilling needs, charcoals, wood chips, seasonings, and so much more. Make sure you stop by, check them out, grab some items. I know it's getting close to that winter time, so you might want to start bringing out the smoker, throw some stuff on there, give it a good little rub, let it sit, marinate, and enjoy some food with the family.
And another big thank you to one of our other sponsors, Willow Seasonings and Blends LLC, putting a little spice into your life. WillowSeasonings.com is where you can visit them at, and you can get all of your spices and flavorings and rubs for your barbecues to go along with everything that you're picking up from Stoked Fire and some of your other dinners and appetizers and whatever else you need seasonings for. All right. So go over to willowseasonings.com and check them out, and check out some of the great flavors that they have there available. And we are part of the Rocky Mountain Sports Report Network. They have a ton of other shows, so be sure to go and check the Rocky Mountain Sports Report Facebook page out. We're linked to them. You might be watching it directly from my Facebook, or you might be watching it already from the Rocky Mountain Sports Report. But be sure to go over there, share with your family and friends. Don't be selfish, and share all that great content that we have over there. Okay. So, Vic, I know we've been apart for a little bit now, and I'm excited to be back. I really am. So what is one of the things that we you miss talking about week to week?
Oh shoot, it's always a good thing to get on here, communicate with you, with your brother Cruz and Matt, and really interact with the fans that we do get on here, because I like doing the interaction portions. I like getting the questions. I like I like getting the feedback from everybody who's watching. Basically, getting their points of view, the frustrations, the goods, the bads. It's just good sports talk, man. It's almost like having a bar with no alcohol.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. I really do really miss the engagement. The engagement's like the funnest piece of this whole thing. Um, and I really love making mistakes and learning about the systems, and StreamYard is a wonderful tool. It is very forgiving. I can go through and correct things as I go, and am able to add like graphics and whatever else. So this is like fun for me. This is, you know, me and Vic don't get paid for any of this stuff. This is all volunteer basis. We just love making the content. Maybe one day our dreams will be fulfilled and we start getting paid to do this kind of stuff. But we do have daytime jobs, and I know somebody was commenting earlier this week on the Rocky Mountain Sports Report about uh, internships and volunteership and this, that, the other. Look, we're bringing this content to you, bringing this content to ourselves. We're just having a good time with it, and we're having a lot of fun. And we have Matt Stefero, the founder of the Rocky Mountain Sports Report, to thank for all of those things, and allowing us to figure out our own personal lives. He knows that we have other things going on, and he's still being able to help us and make sure that we're given the keys to success to be able to be successful on this show. So without further ado, you'll stop hearing us talk about all the other stuff that goes along with reporting. We're going to go ahead straight jump right back into it, and we're going to start off with some Von Miller news. Okay, so it was reported that Von Miller's injury was not as significant as it appeared from the game, and we might possibly be seeing Von this week. So Vic, give me your breakdown on what you've heard about this injury.
I mean, honestly, I'm not too sure about the intricate details of it, but I did see him post because I do follow him on Instagram. Guilty. I like seeing the animal at work
Yep.
when he's in the gym, and then also seeing him with his family and his DJ stuff and all that other stuff. But he was wearing a boot, right? And that to me, I mean, they marked him as questionable for this game, but to me, that's kind of a red flag. I'm a little scared about it. Because if the trainers didn't want to let him go back on the field, he missed two practices. I don't know how confident training staff's going to want him out there. I don't know if that's based off the injury or based off of possible trading, free agency type stuff down the road. I mean, it could be a multiple number of things. What I'd like to see is him out there as long as he's healthy. I don't want to rush him back and have something ultimately happen and then he's out for the season, because then we both lose on that part. Him with his health and his future, and then us overall losing depth in that linebacker position.
Yeah, definitely. He is one of the keys to, I think, our success for the rest of the season. If we do not have him long term, that longevity, I don't think that we're going to be as successful as we were in the first three games. We won't talk about the last four, but
Ah,
but our some of our success in those first three games was being able to get to the quarterback, and really exhibiting that pass rush. So I agree with you. Don't rush him back. If he's not ready, don't push him. For a couple of reasons, just like I said, longevity throughout the season. If he does continue to stay on the Broncos, I and we'll get into that in a little bit, but I think that he's going to be a key to us getting back into this and trying to make a playoff run. Is that going to happen right now? I don't know. There's just so much craziness that's going on. And, we can make up all the excuses in the world of why we're not winning and why we're not being successful. But at the end of the day, you know, it, we have to go out and just be better than that other team that we're playing. And so I think Vaughn contributes to that. I think he's a great leader on this team. And, he hasn't let his head drop. Yeah, he went out there and talked all kinds of smack before the Browns game. But you know what? That's what he's supposed to be doing. Him and Simmons were doing the same thing. They're supposed to be stepping up as leaders and saying, hey, we're going to go out there. We're going to crush it. This is the reason why, we let our team down last week. And now we need to go out there and make money moves for the next week. And so I think
right.
that, go ahead.
No, I like that you said that, right? So I mean, that's just part of football. The smack talk, you got to love it at any point, whether it's pee wee, high school, college, or NFL level. That's part of the game. So yeah, they're gonna go ahead and do that. But like you said, the whole leadership aspect is the accountability, right? So
Mhm.
them saying that portion is great. It's great because it's showing, the younger guys underneath. Yeah, you can talk. It's fun. It's all fun. But you got to put that work in and come back even harder the next week. So I'm curious to see exactly what happens, especially if he gets on the field. I'd like to see who he matches up with, and how he takes that leadership role and puts basically action to his words.
Yeah, definitely. I think that like I said, I think this week if he does see the field, it'll be in a limited capacity. I don't think they're going to push him too hard. I think they're going to give him some game time reps so that he can see how that ankle is feeling, and then maybe we'll see him again for the Dallas game. I
Yep.
know this week we got Washington, and if it's it's to be seen if he will go ahead and continue having the success that he did in the first three games. Um, but he needs to step up. He does, and he needs to continue to show his team what he's about. And that's where we're gonna see him succeed, or we're gonna see him get traded.
Right.
And that was one of the other things I wanted to talk to you about. Do you think that we are better off trading Von Miller, or do you think that we're better off keeping him and letting him stay a Bronco?
Honestly, where he's at in his career, I mean, some people might look at it and look at this season and be like, oh, well, he's not, he's a little bit above average right now, but he's not anything, you know, flashy. But compared, him coming off an injury like that and possibly being somewhat questionable right now. I mean, I know that he wants to finish off his career in Denver, and his attitude and his work ethic, the way that he comes back from things, I think that's the reason why we keep him. I think because he's able to come back, right? Like he gets injured from time to time, but he comes back, and when he does, he shows up to play. He's not one of those guys where you get injured and you're continuously missing like nonstop. His work, I
Yeah.
don't think his work ethic will let him stop, and that's the kind of guy I want on this team.
I agree. I think he has that veteran leadership, and he's that continuity
Hmm.
between all of these changes that are ongoing constantly throughout the Broncos organization over the last few years. He has been that continuity since Super Bowl 50. So since for these last 5 6 years, he's the one that has been able to show him, hey, I know how to win. This is how we do it, and this is how we get to that level. And I think that if we continue to have that veteran presence, that's what's going to make us continue to build towards success. I'm not saying that we're successful right now, but we can build towards success again if we have him in that type of capacity. I don't think it's the right move right now to move him. um, I think that we can continue to use that veteran knowledge and veteran leadership and go ahead and move him forward into that same type of capacity of leading his younger teammates, because we have a very young defensive core right now. With a lot of the guys that are on there, we do have some veterans on there that can definitely lead this team. But I think that him being the most senior and him being one of the holdovers from Super Bowl 50, I think it's really important that we keep him around. I know there's
Yeah.
a lot of people out there that'll say, no, we gotta trade him while he still has some value and this, that, the other. I understand. I understand trading him for when he has value and trying to get something from from him at this time. But we didn't. Uh, we don't need to do that. We can keep him around. He still has value to the team itself.
Hmm.
And like I said, that maybe he's not down there on every snap for every game, but he is there to continue to provide that mentorship to those young elite players that we're trying to raise.
Yeah, definitely. Just example would be Browning. I mean, I know. Recently, we just got somebody, and we'll speak on that as far as inside linebacker to kind of help out in that position. We'll speak on that in here in just a second. But Browning now, I mean, that opens up possibility for him getting more snaps going out there, and I know just the knowledge that Vaughn has that might help him groom his form of play. So
Yeah. No, I agree, man. So, um, you know, I I'm excited. I'm excited to see what happens with Vaughn. I hope his recovery is quick and we're able to see him on the field maybe a little bit this weekend. Not too much, but enough to we can kind of see how he was able to kind of get over that injury from last week. It looked real bad. I'm glad it was reported. that you have your opinions on this. I have my opinions on this, and I'm excited to see what is the fate in the future of Bradley Chubb himself. So,
Mhm.
um, we kind of captivated in our caption below. Bradley Chubb, adjust or bust. All right. Do you think that Bradley Chubb is going to be able to continue on with the Broncos in the capacity that he is in right now?
The way that I'm looking at it is the way that we just spoke about Von Miller, right? You're looking at longevity, and you're looking at who's going to give you the better gameplay. Besides him, being younger and him with his with his gameplay and what he's shown on the field thus far. I don't think he's shown enough, and he's been very injury prone. And I'd hate to say it, but I think at this point going forward, if looking at the coaching staff and the owners and everybody, if they're trying to win now because jobs are at stake and the fans are tired of losing, I think we move on. I think
Yeah,
I think he finds a better home somewhere else where he can rehab and best wishes to him. He gets stronger and he has a good successful career, but I think he's not gonna thrive the way that he should be doing because he hasn't been doing it. He's been injured on and off way too long, way too
yeah,
many
definitely.
times.
Definitely. I'm in agreement with you here. Chubb was, man, he was captivating when, we drafted him. I was super excited. I was like, this is the kind of edge rusher that we need, somebody to complement Vaughn, somebody to take some of that pressure off of Vaughn. And him being injured, Vaughn being injured, we haven't been able to really get them both on the field. And so, I think Chubb honestly has a little bit of about the same level of draft value that Vaughn has right now, just because Chubb is a little bit younger, Vaughn's a little bit older, but Vaughn has that experience, and he's the better player as of right now. If you look statistically, he is, and but I think that because Chubb has that young thing going for him, that he is going to be the person that has about the same amount of trade value, but I think he's the person that we move
He would probably
because
attract more teams to look at him in that aspect as well because they're looking at how many more years can I get out of him versus the 1 to 2 that they would get out of Von Miller.
yeah, exactly, and that's kind of the same thing. But the person that kind of screwed up the market in this whole deal with outside defensive ends and edge rushers was J.J. Watt. J.J. Watt
Yes.
still getting paid big bucks, and he is super injury prone. And and it happened again. Unfortunately for J.J., he just destroyed his shoulder, and now he's out for a whole nother season.
Yep.
And it seems like JJ hasn't been able to catch a break either. But that talks about that position. That talks about how gruesome that position is. Day in or game in, game out. They're out there and they're getting slayed by these tackles, and they're trying to get past them game in, game out. And then, one of the things that has been real irritating to me for the Broncos specifically is that Vic Fangio has Vaughn dropping into coverage multiple times
Yeah.
a game. And it's like, that's not his objective. That's not his place. And so, we have struggles at the inside linebacker position, and that's why, we were doing some of those things. But I think that with Chubb possibly being back in the next couple of weeks, hopefully that will help alleviate some of that stuff if he's not traded before the trade deadline.
Right.
I don't think anybody's going to trade for him this year. I think maybe it'll be an off-season move that we trade for, or we have somebody trade for Chubb because of the injury this year already. It might take a little bit of time for him to come back from that, even though he is going to be eligible to return in the next 20 something days or so, because he has been activated from that injured reserve spot. We'll see how it goes. But like I said, I don't think that Chubb has lived up to the hype of where we thought he was when we drafted him.
Yeah. I don't
Um,
know. I'd hate to call him a bust, but I think he makes his adjustments elsewhere.
yeah, and Everybody, I would like to welcome Matt Stefero to the show,
Oh
Lock
God.
Flogger 2021. Matt, thank you for tuning in. Appreciate it. Love to hear your comments as always. We got to get you on the show one of these weeks, Matt. And bring you in. We'd love to hear your takes as we're speaking.
I think I just saw Matt put on two gloves.
Oh, Matt Two Gloves. All right, I got it. I got it. All right. So let's move on. We're gonna hit the next topic. Hey, it's this show's gonna be a little Bronco centric this week. We have a lot to catch up on the Broncos. We're gonna talk about Judge Judy here for a few minutes. All right. All rise for the return of the judge. All right. Judy is going to be back this weekend. He's going to be back in action. Looking forward to having him back on the field and making plays again. He did sustain a pretty significant ankle sprain, and unfortunately, we're sitting here talking about a lot of injuries the Broncos have sustained over the last couple of weeks and since the beginning of the season, and that just seems to be our luck over the last couple of years. Injury after injury after injury, and I think that us not having Judy on the field has definitely impacted us. And impacted the way our uh, our offensive coordinator has been game planning a little bit. And we'll get into that. But I'm super excited to see Judy back on the field. He is not on my fantasy football team, but I'm still super stoked that he's coming back. Vic, what is the thing that you're most excited to see with Judy back on the field?
Oh, the routes, man. You know this guy's gonna be cutting up that grass everywhere, and that's gonna give. Un- Unfortunately, it's Bridgewater. It's gonna give Bridgewater a little bit of help, right? Because they say that he's got a quick release, and I mean, you give him give Judy the ball anywhere, that guy's gonna be able to move his feet and make a play. So I'm looking forward to him extending and gaining some yards.
Yeah, definitely. I really like Matt's comment here. Him bringing back the middle of the field, and Pat using him correctly. That's a big thing. That was one of the big problems that we've had over the last couple of weeks, that we haven't been able to really throw over the middle, and we have had to throw to the outside. And Bridgewater constantly getting pressured, trying to wait for those long passes that he's throwing. That he has shown that he can do, but we were kind of getting into this earlier, was that a lot of these sacks that Bridgewater has been taking have been self-inflicted. He has been holding on to the ball too long and not get and his offensive line is the one's getting punished for it, because he's the one taking the sacks, but the offensive line is the one that is the one that has to take credit for the sack itself. And I think there should be like a quotation there: quarterback held onto the ball too long on all of those sacks that they've allowed this season.
He's got molasses on his gloves.
Yeah, it's stuck to his glove. I don't know what it is. So being able to have somebody quick and over the middle, I think will be good, but could also turn into a lot more interceptions and whatnot, because that's Bridgewater. Bridgewater is not. It has been notoriously bad this season for throwing over the middle, and his receiver selection sometimes has not been the greatest. So we'll
Right.
see. I don't know. I'm super excited to see Judy back. Again, adding the speed, adding the route running itself is going to be phenomenal to have back. It's going to alleviate some of the pressure on Sutton. It's going to alleviate some of the other pressure on Tim Patrick on the other side. And we've had some decent fill-in coverage from Hinton, Tyree Cleveland, and some of those other receivers that have kind of done okay for us. But I'm really excited to see Judy getting back out onto the field. I wish we used our tight ends a little bit more, and we wouldn't have ever lost that in the middle kind of coverage. But Shermer
Right.
just seems to really like to have our tight ends blocking, even though that was what you said earlier was, Fant was never a blocker in college.
No, that was Hawkinson's
He's a
job.
receiver.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So that's something we are gonna have to figure out this game, and looking forward to kind of seeing what's going on. All right, so we have a trade alert. And that trade alert is us upgrading at inside linebacker. Uh, Vic, go ahead, run us through that breakdown on our new linebacker.
Shoot. I mean, this guy is he's gonna come in. He's gonna have pass deflections. I mean, if you look at it, he's already got shoot. If I can adjust my glasses here, geez, he's got 1 sack. He's got 21 assists already, and I mean, he's just a big dude, fast guy, and honestly, it's an upgrade, immediate upgrade from what's his name, Stranad, and that's been
Schnad.
struggling the past. Yeah, Stranad has been struggling past 2 games. Um, even though I don't like him, Josie Jewell is not able to contribute as of late. He's still injured. So I mean,
Yeah, he's
any
out for the
any kind,
season.
yeah. So any kind of help really is a big deal there. And it's not like this is just a nobody. I mean, we ended up getting a good deal for him because what it was the Rams basically were looking at his option year and probably just didn't want to pick up that contract. So we gave up, I think it was like a 6th round pick for him. So I mean, it's a position that needed help, and that's gonna be immediate impact. I can see him going in there and just smashing people, dropping back in coverage, and being a big help. Giving Vaughn or whoever's on that outside linebacker position the ability to go in and get that rush as soon as he gets familiar with that playbook. He's just going to open up more opportunities, and I think in the long run, that's a huge benefit.
Yeah, definitely. I think Kenny Young, just like you said, it was not a player type move. Definitely was a money move.
Right.
Um, they were looking forward into the future and trying to save themselves some cap room. And with Kenny, he was, he made some comments this week that he seemed very unhappy about the trade. He's going from a 6-1 team down to a 3-4 team. I'm sure that it wasn't a great feeling. Like, okay, why are you guys trading me? But Kenny, it's time to go to work now. Show that you're worth the money.
Right.
Denver has the cap space, and we'll go ahead, and we can get you taken care of, get you paid, and as you can continue to help us rebuild and revamp this defense that was supposed to be an elite defense, but due to some injuries and due to some play calling type issues, we're not being able to execute what we were predicted to have at the beginning of the season. Granted, we have not allowed a lot of points. We're still in like the top half of the league with the amount of points allowed. For other than that Cleveland game, we haven't, we haven't, or I'm sorry, the Raiders game, we haven't really been out of football games. It's just we're not being able to execute on the offense, and our defense is getting just wore down all game long because we're not making any moves on the offensive side of the ball. So I
Right.
hope that Kenny Young, a little bit younger of a guy, some fresher legs, and I think that he's going to be able to help us move forward with that success that we've had, that little bit of success that we've had on defense, and hopefully the offense will go ahead and pick it up a little bit more. Like I said, especially with Jerry Judy coming back and trying to figure out what's going on there. Maybe Pat Shermer will change his offensive play calling because Judy's back. I don't know. I doubt it, but we can hope. We can
Right.
always hope. All right. So let's get into next week or this weekend's game. Halloween. It's a Halloween game. I always like watching the Halloween games because the Halloween games, you get all these fans that are dressed up in costumes and this, that, and the other. There's a lot of there's always a lot of good things to watch on the TV when you're seeing all these fans dressed up. So, um, what are some of the keys to winning this week with the game preview for you, Vic? What do you think is the most important thing for coming out of this game?
First off and foremost, you gotta contain Michelob Ultra. Heineken is a playmaker. You cannot underestimate that kid. All right. I mean, he can throw the ball, but what you really got to look for is his little sneaks, his little scrambles, because that kid will go and gain 10 to 20 yards on you if you're not paying attention. I mean, he's going out there and he's trying to win these games. Um, I mean, it's one of those things where you're playing a team named the Washington football team, and it's like, okay, you don't got a name, you got your second stringer starting, and I'm not trying to discredit the rest of the team, but I mean, the way that I look at it with all the names and the people that we have on our roster, I'm not gonna say it's a for sure win because there's plenty of games this season that I thought should have been for sure wins, but there's certain components if you contain on their end, ours should outshine them by far. But Heineke, you got to contain that guy number one. Because what is his name? McLaren. That guy will just
Yeah.
jump up there, three flags all day. So you can't give Heineke too much time in the pocket, and don't let him escape because that guy will just try and run around everywhere. Um,
Yeah.
on the offensive side, we got to run the ball, man. We got to run the ball because having a guy like Chase Young out there right now, and you're telling me Teddy B's still at the reins, that scares me. Not necessarily just for the team and points in the game, but for Teddy B's life. I don't think he's. Uh, I don't know. I don't know because before he was kind of doing it to himself, putting himself in these bad situations, but now you got the Grim Reaper coming at you on Halloween. It's not a good situation.
No, not at all. I think that you're exactly right. It is a very scary situation for Teddy Bridgewater. Um, especially if he's going to continue to hold on to that ball, he's going to pay for it. He is going. Chase Young will make him pay for it. Play after play, he is going to make him pay. And so I think you're right with that. A key to winning definitely is going to be us running the ball, getting our run game established early, and having a strong running presence so that we can open up some of those play action type plays and moving the ball downfield, not only with the run but with the pass as well. Obviously, those are only two ways you can move downfield. I'm not trying to be Captain Obvious here, but I'm saying that the run game is what we need to establish so that our passing game opens up. Because when you have everybody focused on the run, and we have two solid runners. Melvin
Yeah,
Gordon, he hasn't been doing too great the last two games. He's had okay games, but they're calling. I can tell you what the Broncos, if Pat Shermer sticks to what he's done all season long, I'll tell you what the first three plays of this game are: run, and pass. So it is so predictable. You can sit there and watch the game field from every single one of these games, and nothing has changed. Shermer has not changed a single thing. So if we come out passing, they're not going to be expecting that. They're going to be on their heels. They're going to be like, "Oh snap! We thought it was going to be run, pass." And
you know what's
so,
sad? You know what's sad? What you just said reminds me back in the day of the Chargers with Norv Turner. Oh, give the ball to LT, give the ball to LT, hit Gates, run, pass. And it sucks because you see it every single game and it doesn't work. And you see it that it doesn't work every single game. So why are you still
yeah,
running those three plays?
yeah, and it's not like he's making some creative run either. It's run up the middle, run to the outside, or run to the outside, run up the middle. It's There's no creativity with his run schemes. There's no creativity with the blocking patterns, the blocking schemes. It has been the same thing. It has been a halfback draw up the A gap or up the B gap, and nothing has changed. Last week they tried, in like the second or third series, again, run, pass. In that, I think it was the third series that they were out there on the field. They were trying to run up the A gap and pull the guard, and they were having the guards weren't being able to get around you know because they were expecting the run. They were already expecting the run. So that's a big part of the problem, is that there's no creativity on the offensive side of the ball. It's the same thing over and over and over again. And what was Einstein's definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting different results,
Different
right?
result.
They're expect Shermer is expecting a different result, and it has not changed. So what he needs to do something different. He needs to do something different and move forward so that this team can be successful.
Hear me
Um,
out.
and
Hear me out.
I'm listening.
What if? What if we tell Teddy B to take off one glove?
Uh, Teddy B with one glove, I think he would feel naked out on the field. I would hope that maybe he could, sling the ball a little bit harder and a little bit farther and, maybe have a little more spin on the ball. But, I don't think Teddy is going to be willing to take off his second glove anytime soon.
Hmm.
All right. So those are some of our keys to winning for this week's game. You know, change up the offensive play calling, establish a run game, not run pass throughout the whole game. That's not establishing a run game. Um, and setting up the defense for success, keeping them off of the field, not having them exhausted by the time they come onto the field over after series after series after series. Um, all right, Vic. So we have already had one trade, and the trade deadline is very quickly approaching. Who are you looking forward to seeing the Broncos try to actually go after if Jim or I'm sorry, Patton tries to go after and actually make a trade?
I don't want a quarterback. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I don't. I don't want a quarterback because they're gonna look at Watson and then they're gonna think, oh, the allegations. I don't know if that's smart. They're gonna look at Tua and they're like, maybe fit. No, Tua does not fit. Watson does not fit. I'm gonna tell you why they don't fit. Because Pat Shermer says Locke doesn't fit. Well, guess what? Neither does Bridgewater, who's your conservative pocket guy, who's in your playbook, and it's not working. Um, who else is on there? Foles? No, no, sorry. I don't want the quarterback. If anything, I'd probably want to look at helping out and maybe add in one more receiver. Um, I mean, let's stay on the Bears real quick. So Justin Fields is out there. He's obviously having some struggling issues. He's got 3 fumbles and 3 interceptions in these recent past games. And I'm looking at Allen Robinson. I'm like, look, just go pick him up. Go pick him up. You know, what I
Yep.
mean, it doesn't hurt to have a veteran out there and increase your depth at the same time because we just let go of Brown and Brown wasn't really doing anything. Brown had 2 games on him for like a total of 2 receptions with 12 yards. So I go receiver or honestly, I think that's where I go. And if we're moving anybody, if we're moving any pieces on our end, um, I would like to keep Gordon for the rest of this season at least. That way we can make sure that Williams gets enough good reps, but he's not overused his first season. So we can do that
Hmm.
1-2 deal and then kind of figure out what his free agency looks like towards the end of the season. Um, but I would say Fuller. Fuller is my guy that I would look at using as a chip. Maybe to go grab Robinson and throw in, or even if we just get rid of Fuller by himself and just get some picks back.
Yeah. No, I definitely think that we could definitely unload Fuller, try to get a couple picks. Alleviate some of the cap space that he took up with that new Kenny Young trade. We can try to get some of our cap space back and maybe, like you said, a couple draft picks. I don't see the Broncos really targeting anybody. If we're going to do anything, we're going to I honestly think it's going to be kind of a fire sale. They're going to try to trade away a lot of people and a lot of pieces, like we were talking about earlier. I definitely think Vaughn is on that chopping block that the George Patton doesn't have any. He doesn't have any loyalty to
No,
Von Miller. He wasn't part of that championship team. Bradley Chubb wasn't one of his picks.
nope.
The only quarterback that was his pick was Teddy Bridgewater. So I think that George Patton doesn't have any loyalty to really anybody on this team that hasn't been on this season or before anybody before this season. So I think that anybody really could be on that block. Like you said, Watson and Tua, I don't foresee them coming with us because Tua is just doesn't fit our scheme really, because of Shermer, and they're not making a move on Shermer right now, and Watson with his legal issues, I think that's where a lot of people are staying away from him because nothing has been proven, nothing has been cleared, and that from I had read a couple reports this week that the Dolphins have a agreed upon trade in place only if Watson's stuff gets cleared. And so if they're not willing to, or if they're not willing to make a move until his stuff is cleared, I think that Watson's going to stay in Houston. He's going to be taking up some space on their roster, and he's going to be taking some of that money that they owe him. So, a bad move for the Texans, I guess. But everybody else is kind of approaching with caution on Watson. So I don't think that we really target any one person. Like I said, like I said, is that there maybe we'll target some picks and maybe getting some of our cap back.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm like, and with Watson, with real quick with Watson, you got to think, man, how many games has he not played in? You gotta look at continuous snaps. How these quarterbacks get in sync with an offense, with the receivers, their tight ends, get a feel for the game. He's been out for quite some time, and yeah, sure, he's still an elite quarterback, but missing playing time in a season, it takes away from your game. And I don't know if everybody is still kind of assessing that, because no one can really tell besides the Texans at practice basically, and can give an answer on where he's kind of at with his own gameplay.
yeah, I mean that has to be taken toll on his psyche itself. I'm sure there's a lot of angst and anxiety there of just having to wait and let this process play out. I'm sure that that's taken a huge toll on him. And the Texans are trying to save face by not playing him
Right.
in case that this goes sideways and not in their favor. Um, but are they going to look like fools at the end of it, where they're like, we didn't trust our quarterback, and he's not going to have any loyalty to them once his contract's up at that point if he does get cleared of all these charges. So I think that's going to be something interesting. We got a comment here from my dad. He said, remember, Pat needs to make moves and try to show he's capable of being a general manager with the new ownership coming in. That's another thing that we're gonna cover next week. We've already kind of had some of our show being planned for next week. We're gonna talk about those ownership issues, but um, there is nothing one way or another. Jeff Bezos has come out and said that he has no intentions of wanting to purchase the Broncos, and the Broncos are currently not for sale. Maybe they won't be for sale until the end of the season. That is to be seen. And like I said, we're going to cover that next week and kind of try to break that down a little bit. Um, uh, yeah, George Patton
True.
is definitely not afraid of going into a rebuild at all. And it sucks because that means it's going to be a few more years of this and of just unknown and not knowing what's happening with our team. And I'm tired of this rebuild phase. We went from Super Bowl champs to zeros real quick. Like there was no gradual decline. It was like zero to hero real quick, or hero to zero real quick.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to hopefully trying to see maybe just some moves to try to make us a little more successful. All right, so I got a little showcase for us here. All right, so we got John Elway over on the left hand side. We got good old Vic in the middle, and we got Pat Shermer over on the right hand side. Vic, I need you to tell me, who are we kicking to the curb? Who are we going to date for a few more weeks? And then who are we going to keep till the end of the season?
All right. So right off the back, I don't like Shermer. I don't like conservative play. I don't like Shermer. I don't like the playbook. I don't like his decision or his input on the decision on starting quarterback. Shermer, you're gone.
So you're telling me you don't like Shermer?
No, Shermer can leave. Shermer can
Okay.
drop off anything with the Broncos logo at his office, and he can just I don't know, just walk away.
Okay.
I'm gonna say, if I have to deal with him, as long as he has limited input, because I know George Patton is going to be a big voice, and he's already stepped in, and even at the very beginning of the season had some input, made some decisions. I would say I'm going to keep
Okay.
Elway temporarily until the end of the season at least, and I'm not big on it, but I guess I would go with date Fangio, You know what I mean? Because he could always be fired down the road. But Shermer's got to go now.
Yeah,
I can
definitely.
deal with Fangio at the helms, but I need somebody with an offense that's trying to be an offense. I need somebody who's going to call plays that it's going to try and move the football down the field.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. Okay, so I agree with your assessment. Kick Shermer to the curb. We'll date Fangio for a few more weeks, try to figure out what he's going to be doing, and we'll go ahead and be married to John Elway until at least the end of the season and try to figure out what's going on there. There have been again some more reports that have been coming out. John Elway is getting ready to probably step down from his position as president of football operations. His contract ends at the end of the season, and there's not really any nothing really in place for him to be extended or to renew his contract. And a lot of people are speculating that the reason why that they're not going to be renewing his contract is because he's actually trying to find investors right now in and trying to find some other investors to take a ownership role himself. Some Those are some of the reports that are coming out, is that John Elway is fine with stepping down because he wants to join an ownership group so that he can own a piece of the Broncos.
It's probably
Um,
better for everybody.
yeah. So another comment coming in here. It would work much better if Fangio gave up defensive play calling. I think that is a great suggestion. I have talked about this a few times, that Fangio needs to worry about game management and he needs to worry about clock management. Those are the things that he needs to be focused on, not
Yep.
the defensive side of the play calling. If he wants to call the defense, he should be a defensive coordinator then, not a head
Defensive
coach.
coordinator.
And so yes, and like I said, we're talking about Fangio and staying dating him for a few more weeks. That's only if he's going to make a play. I don't think that, right now, as of right now, he is the one that is in the hottest seat of the house. For me, Fangio is in the hottest seat of the house out of those three individuals. Yes, we all are calling for Shermer's head. We want him to be gone. But if Fangio is not willing to make a change at that position, I think Fangio needs to go. It's
Yeah.
a done deal. If he is not willing to make some progressive type moves, either give up the defensive play calling or get rid of our offensive coordinator to change our offensive play style and bring in a kind of a new life to our offense, I think Fangio needs to go. That's why I said I'll pony up and take him out on a few more dates for a few more games. But after that, two-ish games, three-ish games, if he's not getting his coaching line and staff, it's time to go. We have already given him a long enough stint, and it's proven that it's not working.
Oh yeah, we're supposed to
Vic,
be moving. I'm like, yeah, we're supposed to be moving forward, and what it's starting to look like is if we continue the path that we're on, we're gonna start hearing, oh, we had a great practice. I don't want to go back to that.
nope, nope. And again, now the perfect comment right here. He's staying loyal to his staff and not the team. You got to stay loyal to your team. The team is the one that is where your job security is at, not your staff. Yeah, your staff may hate you, but at the end of the day, if your team's not winning, you have no job security, and that
Yeah,
is exactly 100% why he is failing. And it is time to let him either, he needs to evolve or he needs to get out. And Darwinism is going to really be effective here quite soon with him if he doesn't choose to start making some evolutionary type changes with the Broncos team. All right. So, Vic, we are going to go ahead and move on from Broncos talk for a few minutes. Oh, yeah. I mean, I guess the rest of the show we don't have any more Broncos stuff lined up, so we're gonna go ahead and move on here, and we're gonna go
right.
ahead and hit up some Nuggets news. This is kind of been like I said, a Bronco heavy show. We'll get back to kind of a wide variety of things, but this week we had a lot of stuff to cover for the Broncos. All right, Jokic, Joker, the reigning MVP. ESPN put out a piece the other week saying that the reigning MVP was Giannis. He is the Finals MVP, but they need to clarify that. I do not like the disrespect, because the Joker has not been getting any respect whatsoever, and it is starting to become very irritating to me. He needs to get some love. All right. A very scary injury for him last week, or I'm sorry, not last week, earlier this week in the game against who are they playing? I don't even remember right now. Cleveland. I think it was Cleveland. Yeah. I can't even. I've watched so many games. I'm on the East Coast right now, so my time zones are all kinds of crazy. I'm not used to watching games super late at night, and I do not like it. I do not like it at all. But he suffered a very scary injury this past week. Came down kind of hard on his right leg, and it was labeled as a knee contusion. They kind of bumped knees with another player on top of that, so it was real scary play. It looked kind of similar to how Jamal came down with his injury, and Jamal Murray ended up tearing his ACL. Luckily um, for Joker, there was no structural damage. He's reported back that he is questionable for tonight's game against Dallas, and we shall see. If he doesn't play tonight, then he should be playing. Their next game is tomorrow night. And they're flying to Minnesota tomorrow night. So right tonight they're in Denver. Tomorrow they'll be in Minnesota. So we shall see if he is back out on the court tonight. That game is starting here in about an hour or so. So look forward to
Right.
the Dallas Denver game. So some keys to winning for me in this game is that we actually, Vic, I'll go ahead and let you start. What are some of the keys to winning for this game, for this Denver Nuggets team?
It's sad in the fact that I have to say that it's similar to the Broncos. You got to move forward. You got to get up in that paint and try and score. Enough of the threes. You got to drive that ball in there. Go up hard and just go up strong. You know what I mean? That threes can't be your only way to put points up on that board.
Yeah, definitely. And I agree with you there. Driving into the paint, playing down the court, and driving the ball in is going to be something that they should be really be focusing on. I think another thing that they need to be focusing on is, again, like you said, avoiding the threes. Right now, we don't need to be shooting threes if we can be scoring points in the paint. We take up some of that time, we take up some of those minutes, and avoid the other team getting the ball for X amount of time. If we're down in the paint, we're holding on to the ball longer. If we're out shooting
Right.
across the arc, we have been tending to shooting a little too soon and not making some of the best shot selections. And I think that we have a problem with Mike Malone right now. Another coaching issue in
Mhm.
Denver. Surprise, surprise. Mike Malone is causing a lot of issues when it comes to game management and player management is what I should say. He's not bringing in some of the players that could be alleviating some of the extra time that Joker has to stay on the court. We have the length in Bobo. Bobo could be going out there and playing and performing. Granted, he has no size to him. He is very tall, very lanky. He is more of a forward than he is a center. He has the height for a center, but he has no size for the center. He is not going to be able to stand up against other people in the paint. And it's unfortunate. I love Bobo, but we do need to be bringing him into some type of capacity in the games. But Mike Malone doesn't play him. And the same thing with the last game that I was getting really frustrated about. Monty Morris was not having a very successful game. He was slow. He was making bad shot selections. And when they sat him down, they brought in Bones. Bones went out there and balled it up. And when Bones was out there, he was making good shot selections. He only had I can't remember what he was from the field right now, but he didn't have very many misses. He really didn't, and he was making some excellent shot calls, and he was playing on the defensive side of the ball enough to hold the Nuggets into a position where they could have stayed in the game. But again, Mike Malone, he doesn't like to play his rookies, and he limited his minutes. So we need to see, and maybe it's because he is a rookie, and maybe Mike Malone just doesn't trust him yet. But at some point, you got to kind of just have a little bit more faith in your team that you've coached, and let them do what you've taught them. Um,
Right.
and rebounding is a huge thing with going forward into this game tonight. If they don't rebound the ball, Luka is going to eat them up. All right. Rebounding. Another comment here. Rebounding, both offensive and defensive, is a major factor the Nuggets have been lacking since last season. I completely agree with this comment. They have been lacking the rebounds. Joker had a great first game out. He was, he had a triple. I think he had a triple double in that first game. I can't remember off the top of my head right now. I had my notes. For some reason, they went away, so I don't have them up on my screen anymore. But yeah. So I think rebounding is going to be a huge thing. We can't let Luka hold on to the ball for too long against a little bit of a weakened Denver Nuggets team right now. Austin Rivers needs to really step it up. They signed him to a long-term contract. He should be out there performing for that contract. Did great last season. The last 4 games, he has been lacking. So I'm hoping that we are going to see a better, renewed Denver Nuggets team this week. With they had a couple days off to recompose themselves, and we'll see what comes of it. All right, so upcoming for this next week, you will get some coverage from us. You'll be getting a couple posts from us on the Rocky Mountain Sports Report page. So please make sure to like, subscribe, and share the Rocky Mountain Sports Report page to your friends and family. We're gonna have a little bit of coverage on this Canelo Alvarez and Caleb Plant fight that is going Saturday, November 6th at the MGM Grand Garden Arena out in Las Vegas. I am looking forward to this fight. It is going to be for an undisputed championship and middleweight championship. I'm really looking forward to Canelo going out there. This is going to be, I think, his first or second fight not fighting underneath the zone and not fighting. He hasn't been fighting. It's been a few fights now. He hasn't been fighting underneath the Golden Boy anymore. So I'm going to have some coverage that's coming your way. So please look out for that on the Rocky Mountain Sports Report page. Like I said, I'm going to have some snippets. Maybe I'll post some quick videos of some things coming up. And I'm going to be sharing all the coverage I can for that fight next week. I'm really looking forward to it. So I'll have plenty of stuff to say about that next week. And like I said, we've already started building our show for next week. We're excited to be back, and we're excited that you all tuned in tonight to join us and come watch us as well. We're looking forward to keep this going. All right. Thank you for bearing with us while we took care of some personal issues and we're able to take care of the things that we needed to. And we're looking forward to being back week in, week out. There's going to be some flexibility with some of our schedules, and our plan right now is to continue on our Friday night podcasting, our live streaming. But if that changes, please be flexible with us. And if you don't get a chance to watch it live, go back, watch it, and share these videos, share it with your friends. We're trying to get as much popularity out there as we can. We're trying to build up our repertoire. If you think that we suck, tell us. Message me. All right.
Yep.
Let me know. Message
Tell
the
him,
Rocky Mountain
that his hair
Sports Report page.
sucks.
My hair's great right now. All right.
Message. Look. Tell him. Look, I got nice hair. Tell Joseph that he needs to fix his stuff.
I know. I need to get it. I need to get a little bit better of a fade right now. I got it. But no, let the Rocky Mountain Sports Report know, what you like to see, what you'd like to for us to improve on. That's the only way we're going to get better, and we're going to be able to bring you better content. So again, looking forward to seeing you next week. Hopefully we'll have our whole team back next week. We'll see. Like I said, everybody has kind of weird schedules right now, so we're trying to work those kinds of kinks out and trying to figure something out. We've also talked about recording a couple shows and then posting them after they've already been recorded. But I like the live thing because I like the interaction with the fans I don't know if you all fans, viewers. I hope you're fans.
There you go.
I don't want to assume. All right. But again, thank you all for checking in with us. Thank you all for watching, and we will see you next week. And you are now exiting the 5280.